What is up, late Sunbelt? Melvin Kiper Jr. here, aka Uncle Kielbasa. I know it's the off season, we're all getting excited for the upcoming draft, so I thought I would bring you the 2017 mock draft. Picking first overall, following a deep playoff run, we have the San Diego Chargers. Couple different moves they could go over here. Number one, best player available right now is listed as Gabriel Whitlock, Miami, left tackle, 6'5". They don't have really a need at the left tackle, so I think they're going to kind of go off that number one consensus pick, quote unquote, and they're going to go with Aaron Rawls, cornerback out of Florida. He ran a 4.36 40. He was part of their track team. Just a great pedigree coming from Florida, playing defensive back. I know the talk earlier was they're going to go defensive tackle, Torbor, but following their blockbuster trade of Mike Evans for Dentari Poe, they shored up the defensive tackle position, and Rawls is the pick. Coming up at number 2, we have the Washington Redskins. They went out earlier than some expected in the playoffs, but Tyrod Taylor went down, and they just didn't have the pieces to keep it going. Made a lot of moves. Wound up with the number 2 overall pick after a lot of movement around. They've got a few needs on here: middle linebacker, free safety. They need a right outside linebacker. Probably could use another corner. But with the number 2 overall pick, they're going to take Femi Shelby, middle linebacker out of Texas. Their linebacker injuries kind of took their toll towards the end of the season. They're signing guys off the street for the postseason. So they want to fill up that position and kind of take the best linebacker available, and that is Shelby. Now, number 3 overall, we go right back to the Redskins after some shrewd moves in the offseason, and they were able to pick up here. They're going to stay at the linebacker position. They needed help before the injuries. After the injuries, it just showed that lack of depth. And they're going to take Rayshon Good out of USC. Potentially the best athlete in the draft. He showed out on the 40, and his 3-cone, shuttle, and bench were all awesome. So they're just going to get a good overall athlete to take that spot. Coming up with number 4, the Arizona Cardinals. How the hell do you get a top 5 pick after you win a Super Bowl? The Cardinals managed to pull that off. So obviously they have a good roster, don't have a ton of needs, but wide receiver, right tackle, left end would just be a couple of them. They need a number 1 wide receiver. Julian Edelman, he's probably just not cutting it there. So we're going to say they take wide receiver Kirkland Trent out of Miami. He's one of the big reasons Miami won the national championship. They've got 6 potential first-round picks coming out of that school this year. Just an excellent year. He was a 4.4 burner, couldn't be covered, and I think that he would make a number 1 wide receiver with the Cardinals. Coming out at number 5, Cincinnati Bengals. A couple of different needs here. They really need the best pass rusher available. They probably could use a halfback, maybe some help with a linebacker, or more in the front 7. But I have them taking right outside linebacker Barry Blaylock, another Miami boy. Back in college, you had to account for him on every play because he was coming from your QB. He's probably the best pass rusher in this draft, and he was coming with bad intentions and got to the QB a lot. So he's going to shore up the Bengals' pass rush. Give them a chance to really get after the quarterback and cause some pressure. So back to pick number 6, we go back to the Chargers. Chargers picking once again in the top 10 after that playoff run. So a few more needs here. They could go, let's see, middle linebacker, free safety, use another end. But I say they go middle linebacker. They need some middle linebacker depth behind Deion Buchanan. So they're going to go Rayshon Posey, middle linebacker out of UCLA. He's just a thumper in the middle of their defense. Not a lot of people saw him. He's a West Coast player, but he will be a solid pickup in this league and a nice addition to go along with Deion Buchanan in the middle of their defense. So pick number 7. We have the new San Antonio Raiders. They got a lot of needs. This is a team I would think would probably want to trade back during the draft, just accumulate picks, get some help there. But, I mean, need help at wide receiver, right tackle, D tackle, corner, both linebacker spots. But I say they're going to take what some would say is the best player in the draft, left tackle Gabriel Whitlock. Just another one of those Miami players off that natty run. If they're not going to be able to trade back, you acquire talent where you can. And in this case, that's going to be Whitlock at left tackle. So we're going now to pick number 8, back to the Redskins, their third top 10 pick. And with that third pick, they're going to go best player available, the number 2 player in the draft, and take defensive tackle Deontay Torbor. Torbor is a good defensive tackle. He's an insane athlete, ran a sub-5 40, 36 reps on the bench, and he'd be a great pair to go with Aaron Donald up front in their defense. So coming in at pick number 9, Cincinnati Bengals, once again, another top 10 pick for them. I'm going to say they keep revamping that linebacker core, and they're going to take Rayshawn Suggs. He's a thumper right in the middle. He did a great job over there in Nebraska. He's willing to stop the run, and I think keep improving that linebacker core and helping out that defense to go with just a prolific offense over there. Now we got pick number 10, and that is the San Diego Chargers once again with their third top 10 pick. It's just an embarrassment of riches for some of these teams here at the top of the draft. So they traded Mike Evans, their big 6'5 receiver. I say they go back and get the next Mike Evans. That's right, Devin Germany, wide receiver out of Penn State. Strong, 6'5", almost runs a 4.4. He's just a go up and get you some former basketball player kind of receiver. Willing to go make the tough catch and just those lob balls in the end zone. So I say the Chargers go Devin Germany with the number 10 pick. So now we're going back to the Redskins with their 4th pick here in the top 11 slots. With that 4th pick, I think they finally address that safety position that they've been needing and go Gant Shivers, strong safety at a University of Tennessee Volunteers. We all know Dr. Rugmuncher's got a pretty big orange heart to go in there. So he's going to go Gant Shivers, shore up that safety position in the back end. They gave up a ton of yards through the air, and I think having Gant Shivers back there will really help stop the aerial assault they had to endure before. Pick number 12 coming up. And I believe with pick number 12, we got finally a non-user team. We've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. With that 12th overall pick, a couple different ways they could go here. They got Jimmy Garoppolo right now at quarterback, and some of us are kind of unsure if he's going to be the answer over there. I think it's too early to give up on Garoppolo, so they need to get some pieces around him, take some pressure off him. What better way to do that to get your true power back? And Oklahoma, former home of Adrian Peterson's got another power back ready to run it down your throat, and that's Juwan Frey. He's just an old-school punishing rusher right up the middle, and I think with Frey going up the middle, that'll help take some of the pressure off Garoppolo. They won't have to try and stuff the box, open up the outsides, and I think that'll be a big help with his development. Pick number 13, we've got the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers are a solid-looking team as you go down the roster, kind of everywhere except the most important position on the field, quarterback. We went through 12 picks to having a quarterback taken. It's kind of a poor man's quarterback draft. There's only one consensus first-round quarterback, and that's Luke Barton out of Pittsburgh. He's a mobile quarterback. He had to sit behind Nathan Peterman for 4 years. So the pieces are there. Le'Veon Bell, Dez Bryant, Delaney Walker. They just need a QB to put it all together, and I think Luke Barton's their man. Going forward, we have the Dolphins at number 14. They got a big need at left tackle after that blockbuster trade with Joe Thomas. So I think they go top 3 player available, James Garcia, a mauling left tackle out of Michigan State. He really was just a bright spot on their really a down year for the Michigan State Spartans. So James Garcia, left tackle to the Dolphins at 14. 15, we have the San Francisco 49ers. They need help on the interior line for Amir Abdullah, Alex Smith. He's not going to be pushing it down the field, so they're going to rely on their running game. Don't need to hold on to pass protection too long because, let's be honest, Alex Smith, he ain't throwing it 20 yards. So I think they go left guard, and that's Alexander Paulson out of Alabama. So first Bama player off the board at 15. Kind of an interesting prospect out of Bama. He's 21 years old, left early. Not usually what you see out of an interior lineman, but he was the best interior lineman on the offensive side. Really all year, just dominant tape when you watch him. So Alexander Paulson to the 49ers. Number 16, we have the Indianapolis Colts. Really could go a bunch of different ways here. Need outside linebacker help, D tackle, strong safety, wide receiver. But right outside linebacker, Lorenzo Mauldin IV out of Louisville, been in the league 2 years. He should not be your starting right outside linebacker. So given that, I think they go out of the kid out of Wisconsin, Santiago Forsett, prototype outside linebacker, all over the field. Made a bunch of plays on the field, but off the field, a couple of different question marks off it. Suspended 2 times. Will he grow up? We'll see. But there's a lot of talent there if they can harness it and get him going in the right direction. Number 17, we have the New York Jets. The Jets have some solid pieces that they can go with. They just need to make a couple of upgrades here and there, and I think they could be a playoff team going forward. Larry Fitzgerald's not getting any younger. He's 34 years old. I think they need kind of an heir apparent for him. To pair with Andrew Luck going forward. I think they take wide receiver Latevin Darby out of LSU. He's another underutilized LSU wide receiver. I think he's ready to break out. Lack of production worries some people, but when you look back at their history, Odell, Dwayne Bowe, Landry, LaFell, Ruben Randall, LSU receivers sometimes don't get the chance in college. They make up for it with NFL production. Number 18, Denver Broncos. Big question with them, 3 first-round picks. Do they trade up for the quarterback that they want? They're trying out Brian Hoyer right now as the starter. So do they make the move, get the quarterback of the future? Vance Joseph's in there. He's got the new regime there, new QB. I think they hold, assuming they hold on to their picks, I think they hold off. Start working on their line. Take right tackle, Frederick Garrard. It's more of an example of best player available. He's a top 10 talent. It's not a sexy pick, but he might be the most pro-ready player in the draft. He didn't give up a sack all year in college and was protecting the blind side, even though he's on that right side for a left-handed quarterback. So I think with their first pick in the number 18, the Broncos go Frederick Garrard, right tackle. Moving on, we get the Falcons at number 19. I think they were hoping for a linebacker to fall. Really, any linebacker. They need help on both sides and in the middle. Also need help right tackle, corner. Without any of the linebackers going their way, I think they grab a little lightning to go with Eddie Lacy's Thunder and take Brian Gibson, running back out of Miami. Kirkland Trent took the top off the defense at the wideout spot. Brian Gibson kept them honest between the tackles and was a home run threat himself, running a 4.4 40. So a little lightning and thunder down to the Falcons. Pick number 20, we go back to the LA Chargers with the NFL most 4th first-round pick. It's really a luxury pick for them, filling in a lot of needs of those first 3 picks with Rawls, Posey, and Germany. But with it being their final pick in the first round, don't have a ton of needs really at this point. I think they can kind of go best player available, and I think they're going to take Kawhi Mickens, halfback. He was the bright spot on the Clemson team that really had a disappointing year. Towards the end of the season, these kind of stats took a downturn, but I think it's because teams were just focusing on him. They became one-dimensional, trying to rely on their superstar. But I think he'd be a great pairing with Lamar Miller out of the backfield and really form an awesome committee back there and really give you a threat to worry about with Tannehill throwing the ball. At number 21, we have the Detroit Lions. They really need help at both tackle positions on the offensive line. Could use a linebacker, but they are desperate at the right tackle position. Ty Sambrello is who they're trotting out right now, 68 overall, just not very good. They're going to take the best right tackle available, and that's Richard Bautista out of Auburn. He's a pure pass blocker, part of their revitalized Auburn offense. Kept keep Stidham clean all year, gave up 1 sack. So Richard Bautista is a good upgrade for the Lions to go along with their already scary defense. Number 22, the Green Bay Packers. I think they could use some help at the pass rush. They're a team that's desperate for an end, but with no real first-round ends. I think they move down the line, go to D-tackle. They get somebody to pair with their big free agency signing, pun intended, Haloti Ngata. They got 2 big 345 run stoppers up the middle. So I think they get an undersized D-tackle, Michael Sills, 6'3", 287, played ball at Iowa State. Still strong with 38 reps in the bench press this year, second most at the D-tackle position. He's used to taking on double teams, but with Ngata and Soliai over there to kind of eat up space in the middle, I think he can wreak havoc up the middle for the Packers. With the 23rd pick, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a team that was desperate for really any front 7 player, linebacker, D-end, D-tackle. But with the run on linebackers, LaMichael Sills just being taken, I think they stick to their board, grab the best player available, top 5 talent, and DJ Barkley. And he fills a real need they have there, a strong safety, as they really don't have much depth there. DJ Barkley out of Florida A&M. He's a small school player, but man, he is a big hitter. All over the field for them, return kicks, definitely a late riser in the process, but he could be a stud here at the next level. So I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers grabbing DJ Barkley, strong safety out of Florida A&M, get a late riser here in the late first. At 24, we have no one circling the wagon like the Buffalo Bills. A couple different plays they could go here. Go into the mock draft, I thought they would go running back with all the first-round running backs off the board. They could use help at linebacker, defensive end. Not a lot to go there as well. So I think they kind of stick to their best player available. Take left guard Kendall Kowalski out of Texas A&M. He's underrated going into the season, but he may have had the strongest combine of any player, finishing in the top 5 of all events at the combine, especially for the left guard position. And that kind of caused us all to go back, watch the tape, and he just had a solid overall season up there in the middle. I think this will help Dick Naked try and go back to his bread and butter, where he had success in the college running the ball, and help him just pound the rock going forward. This leads us to pick number 25, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have a pretty solid roster overall. They got a couple different places they have needs: right tackle, outside linebacker, cornerback. But this is a team that sticks to the best player available model. So with that, I think they take cornerback Ishaq Humphrey out of Miami. He's a number 1 corner. He's tasked with shutting down the other team's number 1 receiver all year. Only allowed 44 catches on 85 targets. He was the Revis Island down in Miami. I think there'll be a strong group with him lining up across from David Amerson. With the 26th pick, we have the Seattle Seahawks. They're another team that could use an end or a linebacker, but with those ends just being picked clean, I think they stick to their other needs. Grab left guard Artavius Darby out of Oklahoma. He's a 5th-year senior, started all 4 years after his redshirt freshman year, and showed real good improvement every year going forward, and open up those lanes for Jawan Frey up the middle. At 27, the Minnesota Vikings select tight end Kevon Tate out of Tennessee. New offensive coordinator down there, Larry Scott, former tight end coach, makes them the focal point of the offense, and it showed as he balled out for 69 receptions for 1,032 yards and 8 touchdowns. This will give the Vikings a dynamic option over the middle, and add a little wrinkle to their offense with Wentz at quarterback, AP at running back, T.Y. Hilton, DeAndre Hopkins on the outsides. And with offensive weapons like that, I would not want a defensive coordinator in the NFC North right now. At number 28, we go back to the Broncos for their second of their 3 first-round picks. And do they grab that quarterback here? I don't think so. I think they stick with their best player available, and they grab left tackle Emmanuel Roberts out of Alabama. He's just your classic Bama left tackle. Solid fundamentals, well coached by Nick Saban, and fits the need. and gives them two solid bookend tackles in this draft for whoever their quarterback's going to wind up being. At 29, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers again. I think they continue to help Garoppolo staying on the offensive side of the ball. I think they grabbed left tackle Jawan Pickens out of Ole Miss, former top recruit. He was the number one player projected at the beginning of the year. Just never took the reins for that number one spot, and it slipped a little bit as his play didn't really match up to that number one billing. But I think they keep sticking with Garoppolo, give him some help, and give him a chance going forward. At number 30, we have the New York Giants, who I think are in a great position to kind of grab whoever's falling towards the end of this first round. They need some help at guard. They need defensive tackle, D-end, left outside linebacker. But once again, there's no linebackers left. D-tackles picked clean. No first-round defensive ends. So I think they take whatever falls to them. In this case, that's going to be DeMarco Lawton, wide receiver out of Miami. It's the second Miami wideout to go here in the first round. Kirkland Trent was kind of the burner going forward, but DeMarco is just your pure possession receiver, 6'2" on the outside. You throw it to him, he's coming down with him and just has smooth hands. So we go to pick number 31, Denver Broncos with pick number 3. And I think they finally grabbed the quarterback of the future. They take Raymond Solstead, quarterback out of Louisville. He was in the discussion for the top QBs before the season. Kind of had an up and down season. Poor bowl game, poor combine. That's caused him to slip a little bit, but there's still plenty of people who think he's got first-round talent in that arm. Can he put it together? I don't think with the talent they have on that roster, they can trot out Brian Hoyer and tell everyone they're giving it their best chance going forward. So I think for the long-term health of the franchise, they get QB Raymond Solstead right here and try and groom him for the future. And with the final pick in the first round, the Arizona Cardinals, your Super Bowl champions with their second pick. It doesn't get much better than that, having 2 first-round picks after winning the Super Bowl and having a top 5 pick. Once again, solid roster, could use some help at right tackle, left end, corner, but I think they grabbed the best defensive end in the draft, Lynn Prather. He was a solid player going into the season. Kind of had a down season, played a lot better in the Senior Bowl. Not the dominant season we expected, but still solid. I think if you're the Arizona Cardinals and get your 2 biggest needs at wide receiver and defensive end and come out of this draft with the 2 best players at that position, I think you're in a pretty good position going forward to try and defend that title. That's it for your 2017 mock draft. Still a few more weeks to go. Let's get the scouting in. Let's get these weeks moving forward. And let's get to the actual thing and see what happens, boys. All right. Uncle Kielbasa pulling out.